Hello, I'm Rex Lita with the news. Thanks for joining us. Prime Minister James Marape has challenged departmental heads of the government agencies to showcase what they have achieved in the government's medium-term development plan 4. He said public service in the country has been always ridiculed for lack of performance. The Prime Minister said this during his speech at the closing of the week-long workshop by departmental heads at APEC House in Port Moresby today. Prime Minister James Marape has called on government agency heads to present their accomplishments under the government's medium-term development plan 4. Speaking at the closing session of a week-long workshop held at APEC House in Port Moresby, the Prime Minister expressed that the public service has often been criticized for its perceived lack of performance and emphasized the need for meaningful change.
All of you do not need to be lectured on MTDP4. By this July 7th, it will be 10th year in which we've launched MTDP4 here. So for those, especially those who are continuing office, by 31st of March, what you have delivered to expectations of government through MTDP4 that encapsulates this Pango administration's vision must be reported to your minister, to cabinet, to the minister, and to parliament. I will have a session with all of you after 31st of March this year, so that your report card is presented to the floor of parliament for people to know what you and me have been doing collectively.
Marape further urged departmental heads to demonstrate their successes and contributions towards the development goals outlined in the plan. He highlighted the importance of accountability and results in countering the negative perceptions that have surrounded public service in Papua New Guinea.
Forget about the generations gone past, but our generation today, if you do not have the ability to know the reason why you exist in the designations we hold and to deliver to outcomes, it's not rocket science. Your outcomes is clearly spelled out in MTDP 4.
The Prime Minister further pushed for transparency and effectiveness in government operations, aiming to inspire confidence in public institutions and their roles in national development. Church leaders have warned that sorcery accusation-related violence, or SARV, violates human rights and Christian principles. They have therefore called for stronger ethical reporting while highlighting new research findings.
Hosted by Melanesian Institute, the event gathered church groups, health workers, media and international partners to strengthen ethical, context-driven reporting. The event also saw the release of the findings of a study into SARV. The study, launched in October 2024 across 6 provinces in Enga and Chimbu, consulted 122 informants, including nurses, administrators, chaplains, and survivors. Researchers identified best practices such as chaplain guidance on human dignity, free confidential medical care, and community prayer groups that help prevent rumors from escalating into violence. However, challenges remain. Survivors being charged for emergency treatment, misclassification of SARV cases as general injuries, limited awareness among nursing staff of SARV laws, lack of trauma counselors and safe houses, and insufficient logistic support for police. In response, the Institute and its partners have lobbied the National Department of Health and provincial governments for free treatment, dedicated funding, and clear referral pathways. They have mobilized grassroots and church leaders, delivering training for ministers, priests, and committee members, trauma counseling sessions for healthcare workers, and reporting workshops for media houses have also been conducted. Brother Martin Tennis also emphasized the pivotal role of media in amplifying survivor voices, challenging harmful beliefs and clarifying distinctions between sorcery beliefs and SARV. He heads outlets to highlight survivor success stories, follow up on police reports, and hold leaders accountable for funding commitments. The briefing concluded with a call for sustained funding from national leaders to support community initiatives and frontline responders. Media outlets were encouraged to continue ethical coverage that strengthens public understanding and supports survivor dignity. Joanna Pile, TVWAN News.
The Port Moresby General Hospital is urging the public to take preventative measures due to the recorded increase in dengue fever and malaria cases during the current period of heavy rainfall and heightened mosquito activities. PMGH has also far recorded 86 positive cases of dengue and 18 malaria cases, including infections caused by a Plasmodium falciparum or a more severe form of malaria. Dengue symptoms can range from high fever, severe headache, pain behind the eyes, muscle and joint pains, nausea, vomiting, swollen glands, and rash. For malaria, the most common early symptoms are fever, headache, and chills. PNG Electoral Commissioner Margaret Vagi confirmed that the by-election for the Morobe provincial seat will proceed, though its execution will depend on the availability of funds and the timing relative to the upcoming 2027 national general elections. Vagi clarified that according to electoral law, an election cannot be conducted within 18 months of a national election. This time frame will be a crucial factor in determining whether the Morobe by-election can take place before the 2027 elections, as the Electoral Commission navigates logistical and financial challenges while adhering to legal stipulations.
There's an indication of from July 29 back. That's enough time to conduct by-elections. But they must be done before the 29th of July. Yes. So at this time we return to finance, so we're just waiting on funding in order to conduct an election. The funding should come before we can propose dates for the by-election. That's also for telephone as well. So if funds come early, then we'll conduct the by-election. Otherwise, depending on funding.
As the first Royal Pacific Islands Regiment marks 75 years of undivided service to Papua New Guinea, Commanding Officer Major Eddie Jarope paid tribute to the soldiers and families who uphold the regiment's traditions through constant deployment and national duties over the years. Major Japore thanked the troops for maintaining the battalion standards through constant deployments to the Highlands region and the PNG-Indonesia border.
As First Royal Pacific Islands Regiment Battalion approaches its diamond anniversary on 11th March, 1 RPIR Commanding Officer Major Eddie Jarope has acknowledged the dignified contribution of the members of the battalion in upholding the regiment's traditions through constant deployments and national duties over the years. He said every day the soldiers go through immense pressure in carrying out their duties to serve the country.
It just continues every year. This year is no different. We've been manning a company at the border on 4-month rotation. And we have a company being deployed to the upper islands on 4 months rotation. So the operation tempo is quite high. You're on deployment for 4 months, you get back, you're on 4 months of training, rest within the battalion, and then you are deployed for another 4 months, either back to the border or back up to the islands. The operational tempo has been active for the last 10 years.
Major Jarope elaborated that during deployment, the soldiers leave behind families. They show the heart and sacrifice to serve the country. He then thanked families of the soldiers for their support.
Unit, and this year is no different. Going forward after the celebration of the 75th, we'll still be doing the same deployments, the same task. I thank our soldiers and their families. Families are so important to anyone. With a steady family at the back, a soldier moves forward easily.
While the Alpha and Tally companies are out on deployment, Bravo Company, Delta Company, and Support and Admin Company are currently staging 4 eventful weeks of lead-up celebratory activities to the 75th anniversary on 11th March 2026 at the Taroma Barracks. Michael Tamtipais, TVWAN News.
This is TVWAN News. Among stories after the break, plan to end settlements in Port Moresby and 4-lane road in Madang. Welcome back to TVWAN News. The provincial member government for Madang has allocated 3.7 million kina in its 2026 budget to address settlements popping up within the vicinity of Madang town. This money will be used to conduct evictions where necessary, and settlers have been warned to vacate state land before the eviction process kicks in. Provincial Police Commander Superintendent Robert Baim said his men stand ready to enforce eviction orders that come through his office.
Madang Provincial Police Commander Superintendent Robert Baim said the first settlement to go will be the Gagasi settlement. Gagasi settlement, although hidden from public eye by residential blocks, is situated right in the heart of Madang town, just opposite the Madang Star Hotel. PPC Baim said the settlers have been paid last year. However, they have returned and resettled in the same area, awaiting another lot of payment, and he will not allow this to happen. He is calling on the settlers there, move out before police move in.
We will start with Gagasi. Gagasi is the first on the list, then RSM will follow suit. Let me frankly say this, because they've been evicted already and they came back and they resettled on that land. All right, Gagasi is the settlement in the heart of Madang town, which does not give a good impression to our central business district. I'm asking the good people at Gagasi to slowly pack your bags, pack your things, pack your cargos, and you leave that area, because I will be doing the eviction at Gagasi as soon as possible, followed by other settlements.
Warning has also been issued to Bilia Mouse Road settlers to contain law and order issues in and around the surroundings, or else face eviction.
This also goes to Bilia Mouse Road. Continue stoning of the vehicles along that line, and I will not hesitate to forcefully move you out. So long as the good governor can identify a developer to develop that land, I will move in and move all of you out.
Other settlements identified within Madang Urban are Brick Market and RSL. These and other settlements will also be put on notice. He added that Madang province needs to change and development is imminent. So people must change their attitudes and contribute meaningfully to the province. Superintendent Baim has assured that it is a priority which will be discussed with the provincial member, Ramsey Pariwa, for immediate action.
I'm waiting for the governor to settle down in the office, and I'll have a meeting with him, and they will identify which settlements have been evicted already and they came back and settled in it, so that we will start doing the eviction.
Kamala Guare, TVWAN News.
All open members of the 3 electorates in NCD have thrown their support behind NCD Governor Powers Pakop's plans to remove settlements in order to develop a proper metropolitan city. Governor Powers Pakop stated clearly his plans to eliminate settlements in Port Moresby as he addressed concerns raised on social media about the eviction going on in the city.
NCD Governor Powers Pakop boldly stated the National Capital District Commission's plans for settlements in the city, and their plan is plain and simple, that is to end settlements. He says for Port Moresby to grow and become a proper metropolitan city, settlements must go and people resettle to properly serviced suburbs.
Under my leadership and our 3 open members here, is to end settlement. Settlement must end in Port Moresby and hopefully to the rest of the country. So that's our goal. How are we going to do that? Settlement to Sabah, and in the city center, we want to resettle those few settlements in the city center so that the city can, in the center, it develops in a planned, organized way that adds a lot of value to the city.
Moresby Northeast is where many of the settlements are located, and local member John Cowper supported the governor's plans for eviction in order to develop the city, and also NCD's plans to resettle affected residents.
NTDC Manageable Authority under the Chairman, Chief of Governor and the 3 MPs. We don't do eviction. We don't do demolition. We only do eviction and demolition on reserved land for services and goods and services. Road, schools, national parks or parks. In the name of development, we can compulsory acquire under the Manageable Authority.
These areas in our city and in Moresby South need to be resettled. As the city expands, settlements cannot be seen in our capital in certain areas, especially downtown and in urban areas that are continuing to develop.
Can systematically move the settlers, those who are illegally settled and those who will be evicted, to these blocks. But there must be a proper plan in place, and we slowly and surely evict them. This very important thing that we are also asking the Wantoks living in settlements: do not bring any more Wantoks in. We need to pass a regulation. Enough is enough. The new people coming in are the ones causing havoc.
Jasmine Rojak, TVWAN News.
Posen 2464, known as Bomana 10 of Vanuatu in the Port Moresby Northeast electorate, is now a registered land with clear title under NCDC's Settlement to Suburb program. This now makes it possible for residents to qualify for a title piece of land and signifies the start of proper development in this area. Member for Moresby Northeast, John Cowper, presented the posen to residents yesterday.
Residents of Bomana 10 of Vanuatu Posen 2464 in Moresby Northeast electorate turn up in numbers despite the wet weather to witness this momentous occasion, a day they've been waiting for years. Their elected MP John Cowper issued the land title, which was witnessed by NCD Governor Paul Pakop, City Manager Ravu Frank, and other distinguished guests.
We need to work with the community to change physically, socially, and in all ways this particular area.
Cowper said the land will be properly developed into a suburb.
Any state land established city, now online from staff, I make sure that I send my surveyor, make sure that security road by. You make the title pastor now. Behind my middle file, city manager, and governor, the doctor, but you put money now, working. Road go now, power go now, water come.
He challenged residents to refrain from building unnecessary structures and not to resell the land. NCD Governor Pius Pakop said the presentation of this land title falls under the overall NCD plan to turn settlements into suburbs.
Long journey, a lot of insecurity, but now at last we have come to a position of security of Tenwa. That's a very important occasion by you mean market.
He urged residents to work collectively with the authorities to develop this area. The residents were thankful for the opportunity, stating that with the current evictions happening around the city, they are safe and will not have to worry about this anymore. Tracy Pa, TVWAN News.
The current resettlement of 2 Mile settlement evictees at Saraga 6 Mile has generated backlash from tax-paying public servants who have taken to social media about blocks of land being given to settlers. The governor for NCD, Powers Parkop, responded Thursday that public servants are not being overlooked or neglected.
What the government thought was the humane thing to do to give evicted settlers a place to call their own, the resettlement exercise of settlers from 2 Mile has sparked some serious conversations around land ownership and land titles in the nation's capital. The public, mainly public servants, took to social media, questioning the city authority over funding used to resettle evicted families, while hardworking taxpayers are struggling with paying hefty rental fees to accommodate their families. In early 2026, 7 million kina was allocated to support the immediate resettlement of families evicted from 2 Mile. Through the media, Governor Parkop reaffirmed that the resettlement like rent and basic amenities in order to live on the property.
But in terms of everybody else in the suburb proper, where they're paying rates, this is a valid issue, and this is why converting the settlement to suburb is proper, because it will enable the people, half of our population, maybe more than half, who live in the settlement. They will then come into the system, so they can also pay rates like land rates or garbage rates or water and power and sewage. They can pay properly.
He added that the National Capital District Commission is not neglecting public servants or the tax-paying citizens.
National government has allocated a lot of money to support public servants to build their own homes. Up to now, 200 million has been parked with BSP. So you've all public servants here. Instead of going to Facebook, social media, go to the BSP and apply for the loan and build your own house and start to have homes in which you can be part of the equation going forward into the future. A lot of government departments also have ownership schemes. So I can vouch for NCDC. Since I became governor in 2007, every year we park minimum 1 million. Sometimes it goes up to 2 million, but minimum 1 million every year. So in the 20 years me governor, we have allocated more than 20 million for employees of NCDC. Now, also we've given them free title. Me to Belatia, free title at Morata. Me no free title of Geru, but public servants, they get free title. So we have to have a balanced, fair, objective discussion here. The people in the settlement, they are our citizens too. They contribute to the tax and well-being of the city.
He stressed that 49% of people working in the public and private sector are forced to live in settlements because of a lack of land management. Carol Kidu Jr., TVWAN News.
The first layer of hot mix asphalt was laid on the Madang Airport to Town 4-lane road yesterday, marking a significant development in this project. This project is being funded by the national government under the Connect PNG program at a cost of 119.4 million kina.
For years, the stretch of road connecting the Madang Airport to the town has been a point of frustration for commuters and a bottleneck for commerce. Today, that narrative changed as heavy machinery rode to life, transforming the dusty potholed track to a modern high-capacity corridor. The road upgrade project includes 4 lanes of high-grade hot mix asphalt, bypass road and steel arch bridge over Waggle River towards TVWAN University into Tusbab, improve drainage systems to combat the tropical climate, street lights and enhance safety features for both vehicles and pedestrian traffic. The business community in Madang has welcomed the commencement of works with a sense of renewed optimism. This 119.4 million kina investment does not just pave a road, it paves the way for investor confidence to return to Madang, while the construction phase will require patience from the public regarding traffic flow the long-term rewards are undeniable. As the oat mix queues and the lanes expand, Medang is positioning itself as a modern, accessible, and business-friendly province, fully integrated into the national vision of a connected Papua New Guinea. Freddie Mo, TV1 News.
In finance news, the kina closed lower at 0.2332 US dollars in the interbank market. At Bank South Pacific, our kina was buying 0.2257 US dollars, 0.3147 Australian dollars, 0.1820 euro, and 34.18 Japanese yen. Looking at commodity prices at New York close, all closed lower, except coffee closed higher, and palm oil closed the day unchanged. And on the stock market, the Dow Jones closed lower, ASX closed lower, and all ordinaries closed lower as well. You are watching TV1 News. We'll have news overseas when we come back. Stay with us. Thanks for staying with us. A ship that was caught carrying close to 5 tons of cocaine en route to Australia is now heading toward Sydney after being sent on its way without its cargo. It is unclear what will happen if the vessel arrives in Australia, and Australian authorities have refused to comment. The vessel MV Raider was intercepted and then released by the French Navy in international waters near French Polynesian on January 16th. Last week, French Polynesian President Moeti Brotherson told ABC the cocaine had been dumped in the sea. He said overcrowded prisons prevented the French territory from prosecuting the crew. If the ship continues at its current speed and trajectory, it could be in Australian waters by early next week. Residents in the central Australian town of Alice Springs are on high alert after flash flooding yesterday.
Cloudy skies seem to have cleared a little bit. There's a bit of blue sky behind me, so certainly much calmer conditions than what Alice Springs was experiencing 48 hours ago. Where I'm standing now on the banks of the Todd River in Alice Springs, if I had been standing here and talking to you at this time yesterday, I pretty much would have been completely underwater, which gives you a bit of an idea of just how high the floodwaters rose here and how much they've dropped since. The Todd River peaked at about 3.5 metres yesterday. You might be able to see just behind me where that big, powerful torrents of floodwater sort of carved out the landscape behind me. And of course, you can see how much it's dropped since then. The residents here in Alice Springs have been on very high alert because we saw how quickly the floodwaters came up during that weather overnight on Thursday. The Bureau of Meteorology was explaining that the weather event that they experienced on Thursday night was extremely rare. There was very intense storms directly over the catchment area, which dropped record amount of rain and caused the river to sort of come up really with no notice or warning, and of course caught quite a few people off guard. So given how soaked the catchment area is, even though we are seeing some sunnier conditions today, there is still a little bit of nervousness because should there be another big storm, we could see this river sort of come up again quite quickly.
Further arrests have been made over recent unrest in the top and remote community of Wadai, and police say there are more to come. 50 suspects have been identified so far, some of whom ended themselves in at the behest of the families.
Unrest simmering for more than a month turned violent again on Monday. After that, with reinforcements flown in, the arrests began.
We have made 23 arrests over the last 48 hours, and this is ongoing. We are in the process of tracking down the outstanding suspect.
The Territory Response Group, or TRG, essentially the riot squad, are on the ground to respond to fighting, police say, while strike force officers help with the arrests. 50 suspects have been identified, nearly half arrested so far, and that's on top of 20 arrests in January.
I wish to take this opportunity to thank the community, and especially those who have provided us with information, and also those who have facilitated their family members to hand themselves in.
Residents told the ABC that a large community meeting was held today, attended by police and the chair of the Northern Land Council. On top of all this, still no timeline for full phone and internet services to be restored, affected by damage to cables that can't be accessed because of nearby flooding. For the third day in a row, the community is calm, police and residents say.
Chinese President Xi Jinping has hailed the military's fight against corruption in a rare acknowledgement of graft weeks after Beijing escalated a sweeping purge by probing its top general. The ABC reported that Beijing's defense military said last month it was investigating Zhang Chuya, a vice chairman of powerful Central Military Commission, as well as its chief of staff of the Joint Staff Department, which oversees combat planning. The pair were the latest to fall under the huge drive to root out graft at all levels of the Chinese Communist Party, and stated since Mr. Xi came to power more than a decade ago. The drive has targeted the military in recent years. If the dulcet tones of bagpipes put a spring in your step, then it's time to dust off your kilt. For the first time, Brisbane will host the Royal Edinburgh Military Tattoo over the next 4 nights.
Bagpipes at the ready and final rehearsals done.
We've got over 200 ADF performers, but we've got people from around the world coming together here in Brisbane to deliver the Royal Edinburgh Military Tattoo.
International artists put the finishing touches on a show that includes a surprise Brisbane song.
We saw some of the rehearsals last week of the ADF over at Glipley Barracks, and they were super excited, but also too, I think there's a bit of a surprise Australian theme coming in. I don't know if I'll let it out of the bag yet.
And making history, the United States Marine Corps joined the ranks.
So when they called and said, hey, would you like to be a part of this, we were doing this international thing in Australia and New Zealand in February, do you want to be a part of it? It was a no-brainer.
Brisbane students will also star alongside 1,000 performers.
It's such an exhilarating experience. You get to meet new people, hear all the talent from around the world, so it's a really good cultural experience.
The cauldron will be transformed into Edinburgh Castle for 4 nights.
We're going to get visuals from the show like no tattoo. We are 75 years old. This is our 85th tattoo, and it's never looked this big or this handsome.
While the weather forecast is wet heading into the weekend, organisers and performers are determined to continue, rain, hail or shine.
We've seen all the action, the rehearsal. It's just good to see it all come together with the light shows and all that kind of stuff, so it'll be fun.
A piece of Scotland leaving its mark.
And that ends the news segment. Sports is next after these short messages. Stay tuned. Welcome back. In sports, the PNG Hunters are set for their first pre-season trial this weekend in Cairns, Australia, against Northern Pride. The team will trial some new faces during this hit-out to get the best team ready for the season proper next month. Assistant coach of the PNG Hunters, Enoch Maki, fronted media at Thursday's media opportunity and provided the pre-season rundown for the Hunters ahead of season proper in March. When highlighting the importance of this pre-season trial, Maki pointed out focus areas of the game and what he is expecting from his men. Marcus said the 20-man team traveling to Cairns comprises new boys and the regulars. The Hunters assistant coach noted that amongst the new players, a few have been impressive and he is trialing them out in this match.
This new boy, he's been training really well, so
After the trial match in Cairns, the PNG Hunters will return home and host Ipswich Jets on the 22nd February. This match will be hosted at the National Sports Institute in Goroka. This is the first time PNG Hunters will host its trial match outside of Port Moresby since 2019. The last Hunters game outside of Port Moresby was held in Warburg 6 years ago against Brisbane Tigers.
There's no trial, only 2 trials, and we'll have a week off and then first game for the season. First game, yeah.
The PNG Hunters made the finals last year. They went on to finish their campaign in the preliminary finals, just 1 match away from the grand final. With good preseason form under their belt, the Hunters can put up another competitive season. New PNG Hunters recruit Jordan Stevens said putting on the PNG Hunters jumper is a dream come true. He made this comment on Thursday ahead of his first appearance for the Hunters in the pre-season trial against Northern Pride this Sunday at Stan Williams Park in Cairns, Australia. PNG Hunters towering prop forward Jordan Stevens will come off the bench in his maiden appearance for the PNG Hunters against Northern Pride this Sunday at Stan Williams Park in Cairns. He was named in the number 17 jumper alongside fellow newbie Norman Akunai and Miles Banner. After spending over 4 seasons in the digital ExxonMobil Cup competition, Stephen will finally realize his dream playing in the Hunters' colours.
We almost had the coming to the Hunters final cut and some dream come true. Almost
Jordan Stevens started his rugby league career with Tarangau Rugby Football League in the Port Moresby Rugby League. He was selected by the Hela Wigmen in 2022. He had a short stint with the Wigmen before moving over to join the Lay Snakes Tigers in 2023. He spent the next 3 years with the Lay Snakes Tigers and had been a consistent player for the club. He helped the club to victory in the 2025 Digicel ExxonMobil Cup Grand Final. Since entering the Hunters camp late last year, Stephen has been consistently setting the bar, giving the best during training. His attitude towards training did not go unnoticed. The Hunters assistant coach Enoch Maki praised the young prop forward for his efforts in the training.
His understanding and his learning, he's way ahead of other new boys in terms of just understanding the game.
Stephen is looking forward to putting his best in the first trial match this weekend.
Coach trusted me and bringing me come and make the final cut, so yeah, me look forward to me about letting him down, but me give best shot to me is the first trial to me. Improving myself, me can step in Hunters and play. I look forward to round 1.
East New Britain franchise Egma Gurriers are taking a proactive approach in this recruit drive this year with strong emphasis and focus on investing more on local emerging talents coming through their development pathway program. This is to expose and promote the original identity and pride of the New Guinea Islands.
Into his second season as Gurria's head coach, the former Kumul Maestro No. 9 and original PNG hunter Warto Poirot Jr. is taking on board some big lessons from last year's prelim final loss to traditional arch rivals Mendy Muruks. He is returning to the original blueprint with the injection of more local talents from the local leagues in Eastern Britain, including Kavieng, Lihir, Buka and Kimbe. Following the Egmark Buka Nines and the recently concluded Egmark Rugby League Nines Tri-Series in Rabaul, an additional 20 players, mostly under-19s, have been added to the current top 30 Gurrier squad. Coach Watts and his coaching staff have been very particular who and what caliber of players they would like to have in their playing roster this year, with more emphasis on promoting a number of development players from last year's Gurrier's NYC program. Watts said after the Booker Nines late last year, they brought in 6 players for preseason training, with 2 making the final extended squad. Puara is also pleased to announce the inclusion of Kimber Carter's trio, Donald Waluka, Stephen Namuti, and Dixon Morrison, as well as young prop Duffy Tom from the local Kimber League, which should add depth to the Gurrier's backline this year. Returning players from the 2025 season include Benjamin Gaius, Chris Benjamin, Emil Benjamin, Connie Bennett, Muka Peter, Simon Johnson, and William Chirang, with young rugby union convert Colin Tokau. Puara's main strategy is rebuilding the forward pack by local NGI boys, led by a number of Highlands boys still in the Gurrier system this year moving forward. The Gurriers are now into week 5 of their Block 2 training, with a number of trial matches on the cards. The Gurriers coach will use the trials to put a strong side together for the 2026 Digicel Action Mobile Cup opener against New Franchise Candace in Medang on April 12. Terry Longwood, TV1 Sports.
And now the weather forecast. In regional forecast, southern Port Moresby, partly cloudy with chances of few showers, then mostly fine overnight. Daru, partly cloudy with some rain and possible thunderstorms tonight. Momase, Lae, partly cloudy, then some rain showers tonight. Vanimo, partly cloudy with some rain and possible thunderstorms. Nigini Islands, Kokopo Rabaul, some rain showers this afternoon, easing to partly cloudy tonight. Kimber, rain with thunderstorms. And Highlands region, Medi, Tari and Wabeg, becoming cloudy with some rain and isolated thunderstorms, then scattered morning fall. Ocean forecast for PNG areas for the next 24 hours. Coral Sea, seas moderate to rough with westerly to northwest winds of 22. Seas moderate to rough with westerly to northwest winds of 10 to 20 knots. Solomon and Bismarck seas, seas light with northwest winds of 5 to 50 knots. Pacific Ocean, seas smooth to slight with variable winds of 5 to 10 knots. And coastal waters forecast, waters of southern PNG Indonesian border to Daru, to Kiwai Island, Kerema, Yule Island, Wood Point to Samarai Island, Cape Vogel and Old Milne Islands, seas 0.5 to 1.5 meters, rising to 2.5 meters along warning areas. Waters of Manus and its western group of islands, and waters of New Ireland to East New Britain, seas 0.5 to 1.3 meters. And that wraps up the news tonight. From the news team, have a pleasant weekend. Good night.